Doing good.
Alrighty, y'all. We'll go into questions for our defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele.
Kevin, could you elaborate on the role of the star in your defense and just the importance of that position?
Well, obviously, we're a personnel-based defense, and so if you sub, we're going to sub to match personnel, NFL style, if you will, but college football has migrated to that for a while now. The star position, in simplistic terms, is just a nickel. That's all it is. We actually call our linebackers money Mac in that personnel grouping, and when we're in substitution defense where you have 3 or more wide receivers on the field. And then when we're in regular, that star becomes a Sam and a Mike and a Will. And the reason they're named different is because those are different packages and different responsibilities in terms of alignment, even though it's the same position if you just looked at it, externally. So that's kind of the explanation of it quick. But the star position, I think Coach Belichick's the one that named it the star.
The start of a new season, I mean, and I know you've done this for a long time, but does the start of a new season kind of, juice you up a little bit?
Well, it does. But to be quite frank with you, we've got a staff and I think a group of players that we enjoy the process too. I mean, all the way back spring practice, fall camp, the off-season program. But we do that for basically 12 plus times a year. That's a lot of work for minimal opportunities to showcase what you do. So obviously game week has a different feel about it in terms of there's a reward waiting for you in Saturday, and that's fun.
And how has this group of kids grasped your scheme and the way you like to play defense?
Right. Well, I'm going to use a catchphrase here now. That's a really good question, because if you'd asked me that probably 20 years ago, I would have elaborated, well, they're grasping it pretty well. They're doing this. We're still a work in progress. But this far along in the deal, yes, we have a package, and we have a lot of concepts in that package to be able to do what we need to do to stop offenses. But we're only going to do what our players do well. So yes, it's a playbook, but it's not, okay, here's the playbook, you learn it, and good luck. We'll see what happens Saturday. As we go through practice, we figure out their strengths, their weaknesses, what they do well, and then we tailor-make it to them. So that takes a little bit away from what you really ask in terms of how did they grasp it. That's not an issue, because if they didn't grasp it, it's out.
Kevin, is there something that you've learned about Mario these last few months that you weren't necessarily aware of before signing on?
No, not really. In terms of coaches, who he is, he's always been the same kind of guy. I've known him for a long time, coached with him as an assistant coach. His DNA is his DNA. Obviously, it's a different vantage point in that seeing him in the head coach's seat on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we talked while he was at Oregon. We talked while he was at FIU. I mean, so I knew him in that role, but not day to day. I think probably the thing that doesn't surprise me, and I knew anyway, but to see it firsthand, is he does a phenomenal job of communicating to the players and the staff his expectation, and then facilitates it from his chair to help you be successful. And so, a lot of people give instructions, but then it's okay, you go carry it out. He helps you be successful. And so that's probably, if you just said one thing that from a different vantage point that I didn't necessarily know because I'd not seen it firsthand.
It's almost like an art of coaching coaches.
Yes, that's called the ultimate leader.
What is the initial impression the defensive line has made on you in camp?
Pleasant in terms of we were trying to develop, and you guys have heard this, we're not big on depth charts anymore. That went away. You're going to hear me rephrase what I've already said, and that the day and age of you got 11 starters and, starter goes down, okay, give me the backup. It just doesn't work that way if you're going to be successful. And so you got to have a lot of numbers. And when these guys have worked really hard in the weight room, on the field, and they've bought into what we're doing, and so we're in a position right now where we're, in the core, the internal guys, we're at 6 or 7, and on the edge we're at 6 and 7, guys that are really competing at a high level. They put on video to this point in the practice environment that they deserve playing time, and so that's a pretty big number. That's a big number. We're going to need every one of them.
In a similar vein to another question a minute ago, have you noticed anything different about Mario and the way he prepares for the start of a season compared to other coaches you've worked with?
No, not anything different with Coach. Well, they're all different, but he's not different from what I expected from him. Mario's a tough, hard-nosed guy, and he wants his football team to be that way. He plays football even though it's not old school football anymore. It's not played in a phone booth. They don't huddle up. They don't run the power O and lead. Or, I've actually seen a football game where there were 2 or 3 passes in the SEC thrown that long time ago. So no, we don't play that way. So sometimes it's a space game, but there's still a toughness to it. And so he has the ability to infuse that into the program.
Coach, you've wanted a great opportunity to start putting together an identity for your defensive unit in 2022. What do you want the identity of the Hurricanes defense to be this season?
Very, very simple question. Very simple question. We want to be physically mentally tough. We want to lead the country in effort, and we want to know you've been tackled.
What's it been like working with Charlie Strong, and then if you could expand what you've seen from the linebackers this fall?
Right. Well, Coach Strong and I have known each other for a long time. We have a phenomenal staff. It's been fun, and that's not always the case. I know you're supposed to say that, but it's not always the case. Jamal Adai in the back end, Joe Salavea, Rod Wright, Coach Strong, we've known each other, all of us, from afar, some of us, but some of us not. Charlie and I not. We've known each other a long time. He has a very calming presence about him. He's a very smart football coach. He relates well to others, and particularly players, as good as anybody you will ever see. And so it's fun to be around.
And what have you seen from the linebackers?
A lot of development. We asked our linebackers to be quarterbacks of the defense, and so there's a lot of moving parts out there, and so we have been very impressed with their development, and it's coming along. We still have a lot of work to do, but they have prepared themselves for this opportunity Saturday.
Coach, the offense, the defense has been ahead of the offense, and pretty much Mario said pretty much throughout fall camp the offense has been a little more inconsistent. How much do you think, as far as like receivers, and sometimes they drop the ball, how much will playing against your defense help, do you think, when the lights are on or when the actual game time comes? Well,
at first, I don't even know who's at quarterback out there when we're practicing, much less who's at wide receiver, running back. Really, we're watching what our guys do. And so I don't know why Coach said that. I appreciate him saying it. But anyway, we have progressed. I think our understanding of leverage tackling and using each other, what we call buddy tackling. One-on-one tackles in a space game is a hard way to make a living. And so how do you do that? Schematically, you understand where your help is. You understand where the sideline is, because the sideline's never missed a tackle in any game, ever. And then through effort, you get other people to the ball. That's, I think that has helped us in our development as much as anything. A scheme's a scheme. There's a lot of schemes out there. And really, to be quite frank with you, we used to laugh in another place I was. You'd turn on and watch other people, and because of one particular coach in that league had so many disciples coaching in that league in different roles, from Todd Grantham, me, Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, just on and on, you'd want to turn on the film to steal ideas for somebody, and it was the same stuff you were doing. So my point to that is scheme is scheme. You got to have players that understand it. You got to understand the fundamentals and the simplistic fundamentals of it. It still comes back to effort and technique and tackling.
Coach Steele, there's so many older guys, I would say, on that defensive side of the ball, in the sense that they didn't just get here from high school. My question is...
I thought you was talking about coaches, but never mind.
Are there any true freshmen you think that can find a role on your defense this year?
Yes. It's still in a process, and you guys have seen it. There's people in this room that's covered for a long time where you covered the first game, and it would be a freshman, maybe play a little bit, and by the fifth game, he was a starter. That happens more than people know. And so we've got some guys that are coming along. Yeah, we do.
Coach Tyreek Stevenson had a really outstanding season last year. What have you seen from him going into the spring, into the summer, that he's maybe improved on, not only on the field, but maybe as a leader in the defensive back?
Well, I know his technique has improved. Jamal has done a great job with him technique-wise. He has the ability to play multiple positions. He can play star, he can play corner, he could play safety if he had to. He's a big guy, and so a physical presence that runs very well. He's very, very talented, and so it's just understanding the game, and that's the thing people don't understand. It's not just go out there and line up and cover what they do. If you don't understand splits and you don't understand formations, you don't understand motions and shifts and what that's going to lead to and what's coming, then you're trying to defend everything. And so the football IQ part of it, he's made a big jump in terms of understanding, okay, and it's not always what they're going to do, but you can eliminate what they're not going to do if you understand that. If he cuts his split down, he's not going to do this. Well, that makes it easier to cover the route tree. If you're just trying to defend everything because you don't understand, it's hard.
What other cornerbacks have impressed you through fall?
The whole group has. TC has really done a good job. Dunson has been very good. Curtis has, blossomed. Really blossomed. And the guy can run. He can run. He's had some really big plays this fall camp.
I apologize, I just made a pause there. What still drives you at this point?
Pardon me?
What still drives you at this point? What makes you still want to get up and do this every day?
Well, I don't know anything else. My dad was at. I think probably the biggest thing, if you just peeled it all back, yes, the competitiveness of it and the drive to win, but probably the biggest thing for me is to see the look on a young man's face when he struggled with something or he's had adversity and he bought in and listened and applied it and was successful, and see the look on his face. That's a big win. That's a big win. And I think it's not to get philosophical. I think it's really more than just about football at that point. Then he learns things when he's 35, 45, when you've got to struggle through things or you've had some adversity or that play didn't go well, how to go to the next play. That's pretty rewarding. So that's a real personal question you asked me. I gave you a personal answer. That's what drives me, to their look on their face when they get it. When they get it.
Last question. Coach, Caleb Johnson, how is he doing? He's in a new place. There's some kind of transition, but he was supposed to be a really good player. How does he fit into your game plan, or just how has he done?
He's progressed very nicely. He's a physically gifted guy. He can run. He's strong. He's got a little more girth to him than some. So he can play with power downhill, knock people back. That's hard to find in linebackers anymore because it's such a space game. And so, he brings that to us. Does.
All right. Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Take care.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, Kevin, are you upstairs in the press box?
Well, I've done both, and I like